Oh man, it got quiet. I don't like this. Let's get this done. 23 cars ready to do battle for the John Burr Classic. We'll start here in the back. This guy's been maintaining sport compacts all year. Now he's decided I'm going to get in and drive a modified. Driving the number 4, it's Jason Rarick. Rarick in the number 4. Coming off on the outside of row number 11. And this is the number 9 of Joey Van Laer in memory of Pat O'Neill. Van Laer, beautiful purple car, and he is ready to roll. Damon Frucci coming up from Sayre, Pennsylvania, driving the number 15. He's got that ready to go. The mayor of DePaulville, Scott Dinsler, in the Kent Tibbles Roofing, number 64, Scott Dinsler, ready to go. Driving the 006. From up north, Morrisonville, it's Corey Tremblay. He is a former feature winner here, Tremblay, in the 006. Big night for the 71 of Matt Sharkey. Been a difficult year for him. He's had some family losses, but he's out here racing. From Oswego, Fulton area, Matt Sharkey. First feature win this year out of Binghamton. Driving the number 49, young driver, and he is on the move. He's starting deep in the pack. Don't expect him to stay there. This is Caden Rogers. Caden Rogers in the 49. We've got 3 cousins racing here today. And here's the number 2, cousin to Matt Sharkey. Dale Sharkey's son, driving the number 66 out of Oswego. And he has been running hard, finished second in his last feature race here at Evans Mills Raceway Park. This is Jeff Sharkey. Jeff Sharkey driving the number 66. Driving the number 41. This is a gentleman that has raced at the Watertown Speedway. He's got more years on him racing than a lot of us do breathing. Driving the number 41, a local legend here. And we're happy to have Terry Gardner with us. Terry Gardner driving the number 57. He is your late model champion this year, stepping into a modified now. Works on a lot of race cars. Now he's going to drive one. Riley Gill in the number 57. Riley Gill. Here is your SK Light Track champion at Stafford Motor Speedway from Griswold, Connecticut. Driving the number 3, it's Tyler Berry. Tyler Berry in the number 3. Driving the number 29, he was the winner of this race last year. Matt Caprera is the name on the roof. It is Taylor Caprera driving the number 29. We'll see if he can make it 2 in a row. The only driver to ever get an official NASCAR racing license out of Lewis County. He comes from Boonville, driving the number 65. It's Levi Arthur. Levi Arthur driving the 65. Your points leader from Fort Plains, super modified driver in all 3 classes. Your small block champion at Oswego in 2012. He is your champion here at Evans Mills Raceway Park. It's the number 1 of Craig Harris. Craig Harris driving the number 1. Out of the Richie Evans Garage in Rome, the former Richie Evans Garage, the Dippin' Donuts number 2, and he has been fast. Didn't draw the number he wanted on the redraw, but watch him move up. We're talking about the 2NY of Tony Pettinelli. Tony Pettinelli in the 2NY. Out of Binghamton, the Sherwood clan. There are 2 racers here from Binghamton tonight from the same family. We've got the number 96 of Steve Sherwood. Steve Sherwood. John Papin was a champion for many years at the Adirondack International Speedway. Now he's got 2 sons racing who are pretty good. This guy's got 3 in a row here. And driving the number 3 tonight out of Redwood, it is Joe Papin. Joe Papin from Malone. Boy, did he look strong in his heat race. We've been waiting to see this guy fire up. Many-time track champion here. He has raced a lot of years driving the 007. It's Randy Brunel. Randy Brunel. He has been running at the front for many weeks and would sure like to get his first victory in a Cascanet Ford Modified here tonight in the John Burr Classic. Out of Rome, we're talking about the number 25 of John Ramsey. Ramsey. Here is another Ken Tibbles roofing car, driving the number 8. This guy's got 3 feature wins here at Evans Mills Raceway Park under his belt. They sold that car, put him in this one. Keep an eye on Bryce Bailey. Bryce Bailey in the number 8. Great to have this guy back. Last year's track champion here at Evans Mills Raceway Park, driving the number 95. We're talking about Brian Sherwood. Brian Sherwood out of Binghamton. From Copenhagen, little town, but a big racer, driving the number 29, and he's got a victory here this year in this car. We're talking about the 29 of Dylan Bancroft. Dylan Bancroft. And on the pole, by luck of the draw, but he has earned it. There are some Rogies in the crowd here tonight. We may be related, I don't know, but isn't everybody in Lewis County? Driving the 03 out of Casterland, it is Andre Rogie. Andre Rogie in the 03. And we've got a special guest here who has come all the way from Mount Pleasant, Iowa to see this race today. And he said he's going to do this for us. This is Kevin, and he's got a very important command for these drivers.
Driver, start your engine!
Get out of your seat, give them the wave of your hat, your friend, whoever you got. Let them see it. Here we go. Each and every one of those drivers saw your wave. The Cascanet Ford Bronco will pull off the backstretch. Andre Rogie, Dylan Bancroft, your leaders. Here they come into the restart zone. Green flag is out. And a good start throughout the field. Andre Rogie to the inside. Dylan Bancroft holding strong up on the outside. Here's Bryce Bailey now moving into the third position. Brian Sherwood will duck back in on the low side. He'll ride fourth coming out of turn number 4. Andre Rogie, your leader of lap number 1. Dylan Bancroft settles nicely in the second place. Now Bryce Bailey into fourth. Bryce Bailey into third. Sherwood into fourth. And Randy Brunell in the fifth position. Single file all the way back to about the 9th position where you'll find Steven Sherwood in the 96 stuck on the high side of the track. He's losing ground to Tony Patinelli and Craig Harris in the number 1. Good action here, mid-pack. Patinelli, Harris, Carpera, Sherwood all doing battle side by side. At the front, it's still Andre Rogie, Dylan Bancroft riding in his tire tracks. Lots of laps to go. Bryce Bailey riding third, Brian Sherwood in fourth. And Randy Brunell, the 007 in the fifth position. Here they come to line. Andre Rogie maintains his lead over Dylan Bancroft. Both feature winners this year. In fact, our top 3 have all won features this year. Here comes Andre Rogie out of turn number 4.
Starting to go single file now, but they are all really tight together. We got a long way to go in this one. Andre Rogie has led from the drop of the green flag, but Dylan Bancroft hanging right there tight in the number 29. Bryce Bailey, with all of his experience, that young driver who has won a number of races here, has got the number 8 in a good spot. Brian Sherwood likes these long races as well. We'll see what the 95 can do as he is holding on to the 4th place spot. And Randy Brunell continues to be strong in the 007. Brunell is finishing out the top 5. And the top 5 cars are starting to pull away a little bit. John Ramsey leading the second group through with Joe Papin right behind him. Craig Harris is on the move in the number 1. Keep an eye on him. Started a little bit deeper in the pack than he wanted, but he's not going to stay back there long as he is figuring out a way to get by. Craig Harris, that seems to be the guy that's going to get racy out there right now. Everybody else is pretty well single file except for Harris. You do have Riley Gill back here and Caden Rogers side by side. Harris trying to get by the 29. That is Taylor Caprera, last year's winner. And they continue to battle out there side by side. 10 laps in, 65 to go.
Andre Rogie maintains the lead since lap number 1. He's your pace hitter. Dylan Bancroft still riding in second. A little distance back to the number 8 of Bryce Bailey, Brian Sherwood, and Randy Brunell. Single file, but now here's Joe Papin, that is. John would probably love to be out there. Joe up in the high side. He's trying to get by the 29 and the 25 and move up into that 6th position. Papin now settles in that 7th position on John Ramsey, riding in 6th. Here comes Papin to the outside into turn number 1. Good battle here, maybe 3 wide. Out of turn number 2, Taylor Caprera comes out on the top side of that one. Move Taylor Caprera up to the 6th position, and Craig Harris right in tow behind him. Papin settles in behind that, and the yellow. Yellow is out. Riley Gill is slow on the backstretch. Lap 14 caution, our first of the event. Riley Gill still under power but slowed in the 57. Riley's only made a handful of starts this year in the modified. And it looks like he's going to stay out on the track. Pace truck will pick up a little steam here and head into the backstretch. Rogie and Bancroft. Into the cones, and the green flag is out, and a good start by Bancroft in a 29. Rogie will fight back on the inside. A little smoke down there. Maybe some brakes locking up. Into turn number 3, your leaders. Side by side. Oh, now we got all sorts of calamity. The number 9 of Joey Van Laer looks to have some significant damage. Left front is knocked off on that one. Look like the 57, the 41. The 41 has a right front flat. He's definitely going pit side. Here comes our leaders to the cones. Green is in the air. And a side-by-side start for Rogie and Bancroft as they exit turn number 2. It looks like Rogie has the advantage now. Bancroft's hanging tough in that outside lane. Andre Rogie now will clear the 29 of Bancroft. And Brian Sherwood up in the outside trying to get around the number 8 of Bryce Bailey. Brian's not afraid to run up in that top groove. As most of our drivers are, they get those right sides in that traction compound. Andre Rogie continue to hold off Dylan Bancroft as they head down the backstretch, completing lap number 15. Andre Rogie is your leader.
Andre Rogie coming out of turn 4 in front of the number 29 of Dylan Bancroft. And a lot of racing going on back in the middle of the pack now. We got some side-by-side stuff here. 23 cars out there. It's a little bit crowded. Brian Sherwood looked like he was going to make a move on the 8 of Bryce Bailey, decided to back out of it. And we've got the 3 of Tyler Berry and John Ramsey tight together. Caden Rogers and Tony Pettinelli get together, but they keep it going forward. Rogers, Pettinelli on the backstretch going into turn number 2. They're pretty far back in the field, but every spot counts in the John Burr Classic. And Caden Rogers takes the spot away from Tony Pettinelli. Rogers will now go to work on the number 25 of John Ramsey. They are now all single file. The front 4 cars got a little bit of a gap between them. Now they double up a little bit. And it is pretty tight with Randy Brunel and Joe Papin out there. You got Taylor Caprera, Craig Harris trying to make a move on that outside line. And it looks like he might have lost a little bit of ground. But again, there is a long way to go. And Craig Harris knows how to save his tires, although he's on the outside now. And that may be burning him up just a little bit, but he's got a chance to go. He's going to do it. Craig Harris on the outside line, trying to make this one stick. Craig Harris and Taylor Caprera, side by side. Onto the backstretch now, the number 1 of Craig Harris takes over the spot. Here comes Andre Rogie, your leader.
Andre Rogie's led all 22 laps in this feature event. Dylan Bancroft sitting right behind him. Bryce Bailey, Brian Sherwood, Randy Brunel. Some close battling there between Papin, Harris, and Taylor Caprera back in mid-pack. Trying to inch anywhere forward. Dylan Bancroft appears to be shortening the gap a little bit on the 03 of Andre Rogie. We've got 23 laps in the book, about a third into this race. And maybe these cars are starting to act up. Maybe they're getting a little tight, maybe a little loose. And this is where we're going to start seeing some changes for position, some cars moving forward, some cars dropping to the back. Yellow flag is out. That is the 4 of Jason Rarick down on the front stretch. Jason Rarick is slow. Second caution this evening.
Restart coming up. Rogie and Bancroft, and the green flag is out again. Dylan Bancroft actually beat him to the line, but he's on the outside and has to lose a little bit of ground going down that backstretch. Brian Sherwood getting racy now in the number 95. Bryce Bailey on the inside. You got 4 very good drivers out there on that top 4 spots. They are still side by side. It's going to take them a little while to sort out into single file. When they do, There goes Sherwood. Brian Sherwood gets another spot in. Brian Sherwood in the number 95 is your car on the move right now. Creeping up on the 29 of Bancroft. We talked about how Brian Sherwood likes these long distance races. Another driver that likes the long races is Joe Papin, and he's on the move in the yellow number 3. Papin on the outside of Randy Brunel in the 007. So some of the drivers that excel in longer distance racing are starting to make their moves. Papin and the 007 of Randy Brunel continue to run side by side. And now Papin has shuffled that car up to the 5th place spot. Next is Craig Harrith, who has been moving up. Randy Brunel's trying to hold off as many of them as he can. And it's going to be a little bit of a hard job because he's got some fast drivers right behind him. Craig Harrith taking a look down low. Gets back into the backside of the 007. Slows down just a little bit. Don't slow down too much. You got young Tyler Berry back there, the SK Light Modified champion. And they are all running a torrid pace right now. Very close together. Andre Rogie with about a 3-car length lead coming around to complete lap number 31.
3-car lengths back to the 29 of Dylan Bancroft. Brian Sherwood starting to march forward. Being patient, Bryce Bailey back to 8th. Here comes Craig Harrith to the outside of the 007 of Randy Brunel. That is a battle for position number 6. Craig Harrith trying to itch his way forward. He knows the laps are starting to click off and it's time to get to the front. Andre Rogie maintaining his marks, hitting them lap after lap, as Keith said. The drivers behind him are going to have to force him into a mistake. Dylan Bancroft and Brian Sherwood riding in second, being patient. We've got 33 laps in the books, and now Craig Harrith alongside of the 007 of Brunel. Still can't get around him. It's been about a 3-lap, 4-lap battle, and Craig Harrith is up in the high groove again. Will he have the run down the backstretch? Not this time. He'll try it into turn number 3. Craig Harrith might get a 2-for-1 here. Not doing this time by. Craig Harrith is trying to get around the 007. Got no room to do it right now. Now a little better run out of the backstretch, but Randy Brunel cuts him off again. Here they come out of turn number 4.
Looks like we've got another long green flag run here as the cars are starting to dial it in. Andre Rogie continues to be up front. Craig Harrith has been searching for a way around back there. Oh, he gets into the back of Randy Brunel. Over there in turn number 3, the number 3 car of Joe Papin slowed up. And they all checked up behind him, and we almost had an accordion thing going on over there. Craig Harrith running in the 7th spot, and now they start to string out a little bit. Dylan Bancroft continues to be in number 2. Wondering how much Brian Sherwood is saving. Is he running it as hard as he can, or is he maybe holding back a little bit? We will find out here in probably these next few laps as this green flag run continues to get longer and longer. We have not gotten into any lap traffic yet. That might be happening soon here as the 03 of Andre Rogie is leading the pack down the backstretch, and they are going to be coming up on a lap car here in about another lap or 2. Andre Rogie with the lead. We have completed 40 laps here. 35 more to go. We're losing a car on the high side, going real slow up there. And looks like he might be coming to a stop. Bryce Bailey in the number 8. The caution will fly. Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Caution on lap 40 for the 8 of Bryce Bailey comes to a rolling stop up there in turn number 2. He's still rolling. Tough break for the youngster out of Waverly, New York. And a borrowed ride this weekend, normally piloted by Kevin Warren out of DePauville. Kevin said, hey, Bailey, you want to give this a shot? Bailey got a weekend off from school. He's playing baseball in Pennsylvania. He won 3 feature races earlier this season, then had to call it quits for the year. Made a start in midsummer or so, and then coming back for the John Burr Classic. So hopefully, maybe here they come through 3 and 4. And Andre Rogie's up to the challenge. He's going to maintain his lead. Now here's Brian Sherwood to the inside of Dylan Bancroft. Bancroft will fight back on the outside. We'll see if Sherwood can get this position out of turn number 4. It is Andre Rogie. your race leader. Now the battle is for second between Brian Sherwood and Dylan Bancroft. Sherwood to the inside. Bancroft up in that traction compound. Out of turn number 2, Sherwood's got to run. He's going to lead the charge into turn number 2. Brian Sherwood up to the second place. Keep your eyes on number 95. He's one of the most patient drivers out there. And see if he's got anything for the 03 of Rogie. Bancroft still riding third. Randy Brunell up to fourth. Battle for fifth between the 29 of Taylor Caprera and the 3 of Joe Papin. Craig Harris riding right behind those two cars, waiting for his moment. Andre Rogie starting to stretch his lead out a little bit over Brian Sherwood. Out of turn number 4, Andre Rogie.
It continues to be Rogie. He has led from the drop of the green flag, but it is Brian Sherwood that's on the move in the second place spot. Joe Papin and Taylor Caprera and the 2 yellow cars out there continue to have a torrid battle. They have been going back and forth at it all race long and doing some pretty good racing out there, trying to bear down on Randy Brunell in the 007. This is the spot where the tires start to wear. How much are they going to have left? Brian Sherwood looks to be creeping up on the 03 of Andre Rogie. And we're getting awfully tight out there as Taylor Caprera and Joe Papin slide through turn number 1. Sparks were flying. On the low side, Caprera, and the caution comes out for the 25 of John Ramsey up in turn number 2. Next restart about ready to commence. Pretty much dead even at the line. Brian Sherwood looked like he was creeping up on that outside lane, but Andre Rogie, as he always does, hits the marks perfectly. Brian Sherwood's not going anywhere. He's on that outside lane. Dylan Bancroft not able to get to the inside of Sherwood. Taylor Caprera was not able to make that outside lane work for him in the number 29, and now we got some 2x2 racing once you get past this 5th place spot. Going from 6 back to about all the way back to the end of the field. Actually, a lot of side-by-side stuff out there. Craig Harris is going to try and get by the 29 of Taylor Caprera right now. We have hit the magic number 50. Andre Rogie has led 50 laps of the John Burr Classic. Can he lead the next 25? He's got Brian Sherwood bearing down coming out of turn 4. Rogie and Sherwood.
Brian Sherwood trying to test that outside line to try to make his decision where he's going to make his move in the last 25 laps of this race. He may be just testing limits and see if he can get by Andre Rogie. Dylan Bancroft still riding in third. Now here's Craig Harris back in the pack. Still on the outside lane, still trying to get by that 007 of Randy Brunell. Craig Harris, now he bobbles a bit, and Caprera goes by. So Craig Harris will tuck inside. He's got a fast car, but he just can't get around anybody. And now Craig Harris pulls out a lane. Yellow flag is out. Craig Harris is slow, and he's going to pit road. Tough break for Craig Harris. He bobbled a little bit coming out of turn number 2 the lap prior, and then he was just slow coming out of turn number 4. Rogie and Sherwood, here they come to the cones. Green flag is out and in the air. Brian Sherwood's going to hold strong on the outside, but Andre Rogie is strong in that low lane. Down the backstretch, Sherwood still up in that outside lane. Double file your top 4 cars. Sherwood now will duck in behind the 03 of Rogie. Here comes Dylan Bancroft. He's going to stick his nose back in the mix. Don't count out the driver out of Copenhagen just yet. Now they're single file the top 3, Rogie, Sherwood, and Bancroft. Papin and Barry riding side by side as they're working lap number 55. Andre Rogie out by a couple car lengths now over the 95 of Brian Sherwood. Here comes Andre Rogie, your leader. Complete lap number 56.
Rogie and Sherwood are going to battle to the end of this one. You get the feeling about that. Joe Papin putting pressure on the 29 of Dylan Bancroft. And somehow Tyler Berry has found his way up into the 5th place spot. There is some movement in the back of the field. There goes Taylor Caprera to the inside of the 007 of Randy Brunel. Now Tony Pettinelli trying to get through. The 29 of Bancroft skids up the track and a couple of cars go by. That's going to put Joe Papin into the 3rd place spot. Tyler Berry right behind him. Then it's Dylan Bancroft and Taylor Caprera. Just clearing now the 007. And we got a car stopped up here in turn 4. It is Matt Sharkey in the 71. Got a little bit out of shape going into the turn. And he gathered it up. One more restart happening now. And a good restart for those two veterans as they hit the line pretty even. Brian Sherwood staying pretty even down the backstretch. This is as good of a restart as he's had. Rogie on the low side, Sherwood on the high side, coming out of turn number 4. And Andre Rogie now salts away that top spot. Brian Sherwood is going to stay up there for the time being, going to try and do it. Joe Papin in the number 3. And there goes Tyler Berry. Tyler Berry in the red number 3, following his teammate Joe Papin as they come out of turn number 4. Berry on the move in the red number 3. And trouble up here in turn number 1 as we get a car way out into the weeds. That's Caden Rogers in the number 49. Steve Sherwood in the number 95. Matt Sharkey getting on the binders hard and just avoiding trouble over there. They're side by side, 15 laps to go. Who's going to hang on to it? Can we go green from here? Let's find out. And again, they hit the line dead even. Andre Rogie and Brian Sherwood side by side at the lane. They go down the back stretch. Brian Sherwood trying to get a little bit of a run. Hasn't been able to do it, but he's staying closer this time, and we are getting into the closing laps of this one.
Andre Rogie, your leader, out of turn number 2. Brian Sherwood in tow. Joe Papin up to 3rd. Dylan Bancroft on the outside. He's trying to get back onto the podium before the end of this one. Brian Sherwood is still all over the back of Andre Rogie. He's running out of time. Can he make a lane work? He may have to try a different lane. He's been on the outside for the last 10 to 15 laps. He'll try it again out of turn number 4. Slowly but surely, that number 3 is getting bigger and bigger in the back of the number 95's rearview mirror. This may be a 3-car battle before the end of this one. 64 laps are complete. Andre Rogie has led each and every single one of them since the green flag fell. Brian Sherwood trying desperately to get around the 03. We got a car around on the inside. That's the 06. Good evasive driving there. Caden Rogers, the 006 of Corey Trombley, and Jeff Sharkey is around in the middle of 1 and 2 as well. Here we go. Restart. 64 laps in the book. 11 remain. Green flag is out. And Sherwood is there on the outside of the 03 of Rogie. Out of turn number 2. Rogie's going to pull ahead by a car length now. Sherwood still on the outside lane. Joe Papin riding in that 3rd position. Brian Sherwood still up in the outside lane. That's going to allow Joe Papin to stick his nose in there. Will he be in the mix in the closing laps? Now Sherwood will clear the Papin, but will not move down. It is still Papin battling for that 2nd position from Sherwood. Sherwood holding tough as they head into turn number 1. This is going to allow Andre Rogie to pull ahead by a couple car lengths even further now as Sherwood and Papin do battle for that 2nd position.
It's go time now. We're starting to get into the closing laps of this one. We've basically got a heat race left to go. And Joe Papin in a torrid battle for 2nd with the number 95 of Brian Sherwood. It is Papin on the inside, Sherwood on the outside, Tyler Berry waiting right there. They are not going to hold anything back now. They are going to crank it up as fast and as hard as they can. It is Papin by a nose. Brian Sherwood hanging in there down the backstretch. Sherwood stuck on the outside, but he's keeping up. Tyler Berry wants to follow Joe Papin through in the number 3. Berry skids up high and loses traction coming out of turn number 4. That might give Brian Sherwood the room he needs to get back down into the groove. He was stuck up there for a long time. Rogie continues to lead. 5 laps to go. The signal going from Mike Leclerc to Andre Rogie. Rogie with about a 2-car length lead over the number 3 of Joe Papin. Papin, however, has not been in the second spot all night long. Now he is, and he might be closing on the number 03 of Andre Rogie. 4 laps to go. Rogie, Papin, Sherwood, and Tyler Berry. A little bit farther back now to Dylan Bancroft in the 29, so we're looking at 4 strong runners right nose to tail. 3 laps to go now. It has been Andre Rogie since the start of this one, and he is starting to feel it out there. Joe Papin putting the pressure on in the number 3, getting a little bit closer through the turn. Brian Sherwood also right there. 2 laps to go in the John Burr Classic, the 2023 John Burr Classic. Andre Rogie has another lap and a half to get it done. The number 3 of Joe Papin right there, the white flag coming out. Rogie skids up a little bit. 1 more lap to go as they come down across the finish line. It is Rogie. All he's got to do is hit the marks about 3 more times. 2 more turns for the 03. The 3 of Joe Papin right there gives him a little nudge. They come off the turn. Andre Rogie holds on for the win. The 3 of Joe Papin finishing in the second spot. This is where John Burr would have shouted at the top of his voice, "Who's it gonna be, Evans Mills?" And it's been Andre Rogie in the 03. Joe Papin gave it all he had. Made a move on the last lap, couldn't quite get it done. Brian Sherwood, after a very difficult start to the year in the John Burr Classic, he's got himself a podium finish.
Well, I think we're going to have a pretty exciting victory lane. Andre Rogie dominated last year's event. Didn't quite cash it in this year. He led wire to wire 75 laps. Driver out of Casterland had a tough night last night in the Sport Compacts. High fives and handshakes, big smiles down here for the Rogie Auto Transport, Cascanet Ford, Napa Auto Parts car number 3. Here he is, Evans Mills. Give him a round of applause. Andre Rogie. Look at that smile. Grab that flag. Come right around front here, young man. Andre, congratulations. Well, that was easy. Just lead 75 laps in a row.
Yeah, that's the only bad part about starting on the pole is you only got one direction you can go, and that's backwards. And I was hoping I didn't do that, and everything seemed to go good. I was waiting for somebody to start roughing me up, and Papin gave me a shot there at the end, but I wasn't going to let him have it.
You knew he was there, you knew it was coming. You've had a pretty good year all season. You were really dominant last year. You didn't quite cash it in. Does this make up for last year a little bit?
This makes up for the 67 lapper that I threw out here earlier in the season. That should have been my race, and I made a poor decision on a lap car and went on the wrong side of it, and basically lost the lead because of it. So.
What is it about these extra lap races that you like so much? You're always strong in every one of them. What suits your driving style so well?
I don't know. I try to be patient, easy on the throttle, easy on the brakes. Try to save a little bit if I can. Try not to get things too hot.
Don't be modest. You're really good.
Thanks.
Who do you got to thank?
Well, I got to thank the Gill family for putting on this race. I got interviewed a lot back in the early 2000s by John over at AIS when I was winning with the 4-cylinder. So I definitely did a lot of interviews with him.
Very good. Andre Rogie takes home the Johnny in the 4th annual John Burr Classic. Let's come back here to Joe Papin. Joe worked his way up a little bit, threw a shot there at the end. He had to try a Hail Mary, right, to get around Andre. How was the car tonight overall?
Yeah, the car was pretty good. It got better as the night went on. Going through that traffic, everybody's good through here, so it's tough getting through there, and I think we used a little more tire than we wanted to getting up through. But yeah, Rogie, he's a real clean racer, and I got to the bumper and I said, last lap on the last race of the year, you can't not try it, you know, and I made sure I didn't want to dump him. But yeah, good race, Rogie, and hopefully be back next year and win some races.
You've had a hell of a year all season long. Who do you got to thank? Who helps you get here each and every week?
Yeah, I got to thank my dad, my brother. They're over there working on the car till 10 o'clock at night, and it's tough with the job we have. I want to thank my sponsors, JP Excavation, Angel Snyder's Outdoors, and You Fill I Dump. Everybody's been a great help. And I want to thank Kenny Berry He came down with Tyler today, and I'm pretty sure he had a good run. He had some helpful tips for us this weekend.
Very good. Joe Pavement brings it home in the second position. Come back here to Brian Sherwood. Good run, Brian. Brian, you've had a difficult season. You started out pretty hot, had some tough runs, and had a motor break on you. In the last few races, you've been pretty strong. Is this any consolation for the season?
Yeah, I mean, I can't be too disappointed. I think Andre had the best car, and by the time we kind of got to the front row, I think I kind of used my stuff up, and that's just kind of how it goes some nights. He just was playing better than us, and can't complain too much after how the year's gone with the motor issue and kind of running back up front again where I think we should be. That's kind of a nice feeling for the end of the year.
You got any races left for you in 2023?
We might do a couple more modified races. I'm not totally sure where yet. We're still working through that. We're probably done with this one, but as long as we got money to burn, we'll probably go do something.
There you go. Who do you got to thank?
I got to thank Roger Ivanek. He's the car owner. Got to thank all my guys, all my family, my fiance Danielle, my mom, my dad, Royal Purple, Northeast Country Store, QA1, A1 Racing Products. A lot of people behind the scenes make this all happen, and definitely couldn't do it without them.
All right, Brian Schroeder brings it home third. Congratulations.